So, good evening, good morning, wherever you're listening to this, watching this. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. I am here today with Dr. Mandi Holland. As everybody knows, there has been a worldwide huge EHV virus panic, dilemma, screaming from the rooftops, hair's on fire. And so I've been talking with my vet at Outlaw Equine as well as Dr. Mandi Holland. And we are just here today to bring you the facts and foremost what we can expect moving forward from November 19th on through the rest of the year in 2025 and into 2026. So Dr.
Correct.
Mandi Holland is here with me. Thank you for joining me, and let's debunk all the stuff that's
Thanks.
going on right now.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a wild and wicked 24 hours. I was working at the racetrack at my regular job, and I got the call at 10:30 yesterday morning from my husband, Dr. Ellis Farsvet, who is also the veterinarian in charge of the World Series Team Open finale in Vegas. And we are also at the Kimes $1 Million Breakaway. And he said, I have some news for you that you're not going to like. And I said, great. And he dumped the EHV information in my lap. And my blood pressure went very high. And I got a headache knowing what this meant for all of us in the equine world moving forward. So that's how my day started yesterday. And now we're into the evening on, let's say, day 2. And we have a lot more clarity, a lot more good news to share, and a lot more information to hopefully provide some peace, some strength in knowledge, and some hope for the future.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing for me is like the last 24 hours, there's just been so much uncertainty, right? There's been a million different questions, a lot of uncertainty, trying to make the best decisions for our horses, for our situation, where we've been, I mean, most prevalent is for me in Texas. Like we were
Yes.
all at the Waco WPRA finals. What does that look like? So we have some questions we're going to go through today. You're going to give us the
Mhm.
facts, but let's start out with what is the EHV virus, and is this a new strain? That's something we've heard, that this is a new
Great.
strain.
Okay, so equine herpes virus has been around for eons. Much like the human herpes virus, it can remain dormant within a host. And during stressful situations can rear its ugly head. So if you think about cold sores in people or mono, these things are living within us. We've been exposed to them. We have them. And then circumstantially, due to events, it causes an actual disease within the body. This is probably what happened in Waco. Virus within your 6-way, 5-way, 7-way spring shots. And then we also typically booster in the fall, winter months with what we call the flu rhino shot, just like we do with flu shots in people. And so this strain that is out here is a strain that's been around. It's not new. But just like we've seen with COVID and just like we see with flu viruses in people, they mutate and they change and they find ways to wreak havoc and take over the host that they're living in, and essentially throw a big party at
Yeah.
the host's expense. And so, the biggest thing to know is that no, this is not new. This probably came through a carrier horse that never showed signs or symptoms until the horse got stressed at the event, either through travel or competition, and the disease decided to make itself known. Once that happens, we come into a period called, incubation or shedding. So the virus is active. Just like when you sneeze, you get a runny nose, you cough. These are when the virus gets out of the host and spreads. And so again, the mildest sign of the horse that was probably, 0.0 probably didn't really show a whole lot of stuff, probably wasn't super sick, but the virus was able to replicate and be spread.
Mhm.
And that took advantage of other horses that maybe weren't as prepared to see that strong of a virus mutation. And that's what's led us to today.
So the shedding season of this, like, what are we looking at as far as timelines go?
Well, that's the unfortunate part about it. It's hard to catch in a horse and know specifically, like, oh God, my horse is shedding virus today, right? So common things happen commonly: watery eyes, snotty nose, cough. It's all aerosolized. Even the neurologic form is still through aerosolization. Um, and so that can last anywhere, unfortunately, from 10 days to 4 weeks, depending on the horse. And that's what makes this so difficult in controlling and confining. Um, One of the great things that is nice about this virus is it's not very like friendly in the environment. Like, it's not strong, it's not sturdy, it's not like strangles that can hang out and survive on a frozen pole till another horse licks it. This thing only lives about 48 hours outside of the host. And so, the best way for the virus to continue living is to find a new host. And so it will live inside of one horse until the horse's body is able to fight the disease off, right? Kill it off, kill the virus, get over it. So the only way for the virus to continue to live is to find a new horse to live in. So the great thing about this is that if we can stop horses from being exposed, being next to each other, essentially being the ripple effect of being the house party that keeps expanding down the block, right? Is if we contain this and say, let's kill the virus where it's at, don't give it a new place to live and party, we can shut this down rather quickly. And we've shown that time and time again on the racetracks where we see this a lot more prevalent. But it doesn't make it out into the so-called broader world because we have much easier ways of containment and control of our populations that have been exposed or are infected. We shut the gates and there's nobody in and nobody out.
Yeah. And you're containing it. And that's where I think we've seen in the big just the scare and the fear of all of this
Great.
is like, what do we do, right? Where do we go? What do we turn? And that's one of the main reasons why we're here is, you know, I'm first and foremost breakaway roper. So Kimes Ranch $1 million breakaway is coming up. We just found out that it's been postponed until December 15th, which in all honesty was such a big sigh of relief for me because, just with all the things going on, so much uncertainty. But I just want to first and foremost say thank you to Kimes Ranch for stepping out, for being that leader within the industry and being innovative and saying, hey, we're stopping this right here. We're going to do the best that we can in our control to not bring all these people, all these horses into our event and spread it. We're going to, you guys stay home, enjoy your holidays. We'll see you December 15th.
Right.
And so that's what you're talking about here. And I think that that's, what we see. Another question we had talked about was, originally the timeline facts were this event originated or this virus came
Mhm.
from Waco WPRA finals, right? November 5th through the 9th.
Yes.
And so the most unfortunate thing was we didn't really realize this is what it was until, just 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
ago. And so there's been people that competed at Waco that then went on to different events, the following weekend or the following week, and we're taking these horses. So I think we're still probably, in your opinion, you tell me, are we still going to see some of these horses being affected until, we completely shut it down?
Absolutely, Jordan. I mean, proof is in the pudding here, especially concerning the BFA event that was going on, right? That just got canceled last night. But instead of containing that environment, they released everybody into the wilds and they have gone wherever home is. As a veterinarian, I was disheartened by this. I would have much rather had them stay there and essentially test and release. Essentially, like, you're negative, you can go. You're positive, we're going to care for you. We're going to treat your horse. We're going to make sure everything is good, but we're not letting you out into the wild. So the biggest thing that we can drive home right now is please, please stay home. Please do not go anywhere. Please take a break, take a minute, give the horse a chance, give the industry a chance to recover. Because if we want to have a successful Vegas, if we want a successful winter season, if we want to have the snowbird ropings, we have to commit to taking a break and staying home and doing what's best for everyone. So, with that, we have a great opportunity to give thanks for maybe having God look over us and say, y'all need to take a break and be with your loved ones and give thanks and stay at home and watch football, play some golf, shoot some sporting clays, anything but a horse event.
No horse events. No horse
No horse
events.
event.
So what is,
Yeah.
recommended, we've postponed Kimes Ranch until December 15th. As far as we know, the World Series team roping is still going on. The breakaway, National Finals breakaway roping starts December 2nd.
Yes.
So what are we looking at timeline in your professional opinion?
Mhm.
What are you, I know you're saying stay home, but what does it look like? You're traveling, I'm just going to say an example because everybody has their own states. And so I'm just
Right.
going to use mine.
Yep.
I'm traveling from Texas to Arizona. What does that look like? How do I get there?
Yep. Okay, great. This has been obviously the number one thing that I've fielded a million phone calls today. I've fielded them from Washington, Idaho, Oregon, Montana, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Kansas. And my answer remains the same. We had to wait. So all 50 states had their state vets on a national phone call today discussing how every single state is handling the outbreak as far as travel restrictions placed on the state. I know specifically for the state of Arizona, I talked to Dr. Ryan Wolker tonight. We are requiring your health certificate be within 5 days of coming to Arizona with a statement saying that you have not been on a premise where there is an EHV positive horse or have had a fever within the previous days. The statement is specific on the Arizona website. I talked to Pete Rolfe, Dr. Pete Rolfe with the Nevada state veterinarian. I said, what are we doing there? He said, Mandi, I am requiring entry permits on all of my health certificates. And if you were at the Waco event, you may not come to Nevada until after November 30th. So every state's going to be a little bit different. The best thing to do is talk to your veterinarian early, letting him know when you want to leave and that it might take a little extra time to get your health done. Every state has entry requirements, and those have all been being updated within the past couple of hours, preceding this meeting. So they've all changed, and they're all going to be different. Like Arizona and Nevada are obviously different. The good news is we still can travel. And the state of Arizona has not done a mandatory event cancellation policy. They're putting it back on the producers and the veterinarians. And so as a veterinarian that's working with a producer of an event, we worked really hard of if we even thought we had a chance to have this event, what biosecurity protocols are we putting in place? Those will still be in place. We still will have protocols even after Las Vegas to protect everybody as well. And so a lot of it is just having some awareness early on and getting your vet involved. And everybody needs to be throwing a thermometer in the butt of their horse. The scary thing about this strain is we are not seeing fevers with these. They are just showing up and falling over, which is completely terrifying, not only for the owner, but for us as veterinarians. I think good general hygiene. If you must be out and about, I would say use some common sense. Don't drink from the same bucket. Do not tie up to your best friend's horse. Do not tie anywhere. Just be with your horse or be at the trailer. The other thing I am also recommending, and I am going to recommend this to all of us that travel to Vegas, buy a little $20 weed sprayer. Put some water, put some bleach in it, and don't be afraid to bleach things. around you, around your falling area, around your buckets, around anywhere where you're walking. Common things happen commonly. And so if we can provide an environment that is disinfected, we're creating a safety space. And so I think those are important things to think about when we continue to go to Vegas, when we come back to the $1 million, when we come to the World Series, when we come to jackpot events after we all come home, is common sense and be smart.
Where circling back to, each state is going to be different. Where do we go in that place? Like, what website do we go to look up that information per each state?
So typically you can go to, so like this is exactly what I'm doing, is you can go to Google and you can say Texas State Veterinarian or Texas Department of Agriculture. And usually within those pages, especially on the agricultural page, there will be an import information tab on all animals.
Mhm.
Cattle, chicken, sheep, goats, horses. You click on the horse part and there'll be a drop-down menu of the requirements that you need.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. Yep.
As far as biosecurity, like preventatives, I'm like, okay, what do we need to do? And I guess we're on high alert now, right? But it's
Mhm.
like, what are good safety precautions no matter where you go? Like when
Yeah.
you get to an event venue, like what are some good safety precautions you can take to try to give your horse the best chance that they can?
Well, cheap and easy. Go get you a weed sprayer at Walmart for $20. Get you a jug of Clorox, fill it up like a 1 to 10 solution. You don't have to, have it smell like bleach, for God's sakes. It doesn't have to burn your nostrils to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my sprayer, and I don't care if we all have them. But if I'm going into a confined space with my horse that I have no idea who was there before me or
Mhm.
what they did in there, or if it was disinfected, I am not going to leave it to the producers or event people to be safe. I'm going to
Right.
take it upon myself to say, I am going to spray this down and know that I've done my due diligence. Hoses. Okay. This is one, right? There's usually the communal hose. Okay. I'm okay with the
You just
communal
take the
hose.
hose and you dump it in everybody's bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No. So again, take your little weed sprayer and spray a good 2-foot section chunk of the end of the hose, right? Before you fill your water bucket. Like, I get it. We can't all be packing our own hoses around. There's going to be communal hoses, right? Be smart, right? Disinfect before dunking in your bucket. Jordan, Joe, you and me, we're going to be at Ropens together, and I'm going to love to chat with you, but horseback ain't the place we're going to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit with you in the alleyway or behind the box, shoulder to shoulder, like we normally do, chit chatting. Okay. We have to think about how close is my nose of my horse to your horse. I need to create that bubble. I mean, I hate to bring COVID back. We need to have that 6-foot bubble space between us. I mean, this was one of the things I talked with Matt Kimes and Chris Neal about. As I said, if we think we're going to pull this off, I am not going to allow people to tie horses in the warm-up pen and walk off and leave them. I am only going to allow 5 girls in the alleyway coming up to the rope and shoot. And there's only 1 girl behind the rope and shoot, 1 girl in the box, 1 girl back. Like, we're congestion. We have to break it up. We have to create space. So those are all the things. Even though I love you, Jordan Joe, and I want to come visit with you, it ain't going to be horseback at the Roping this year.
Well, it's not going to hurt my feelings this time, just this one time. What are some of the signs? I know you're touching on them. That's something that everybody's asked. Like every horse, it seems the cases vary. Can you give
Yes.
us an overview of the signs that we can be looking for and or expect
Mhm.
with this virus?
Okay,
And
so
also, to add on to that, I've heard you say there's a neurological side and there's a non-neurological side. So could you explain that?
yeah, so there's actually 2 forms. There's the EHV1 and EHV4, and the most common one that gets expressed and sheds is what we call the respiratory one. So those are going to be super common. They're going to look just like influenza. They could look like strangles, right? You're going to have the watery eyes, the itchy eyes, the runny nose. It's not going to be white runny, like pus runny. It's going to be clear runny. It's going to be a slight cough. Those typically have an elevated temperature. Okay. We're talking 101.5 and above. If
Okay.
you have a horse who's 101, 101.5, you had better be on the phone with your veterinarian. Okay. It's no time to be thinking, oh, it's hot outside, or, oh, I just rode my horse, or whatever. We just got out of the trailer. No. You need to be putting that phone call in immediately. The scary part that we're seeing in these horses, and I'm sure all of us have seen the unfortunate event to Britta Strain's horse, Eleanor, and I've talked to Britta, and she's obviously heartbroken, but she really wants to use her case as an example of what to see, what to look out for. Like, she's leading by example. She doesn't want this to happen to other people. Anything where a horse is stumbly, right? You're walking, all of a sudden he's dragging his toes. He's not picking his feet up. You go to turn him in a circle. His legs are all over the place. Even if they kind of come to you like this, like they don't ever really do this, but all of a sudden they're doing this, and you try to straighten them out, like you turn their head and they go back to doing this. That's not normal. Okay.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you'll see them where, you're either tied up at the fence or at the trailer, and we call it head pressing, but essentially they'll like lean their head or their forehead on something. And that is an abnormal sign. They're not sleeping. They're not resting. Okay. So if you see any of this, you need to call your veterinarian immediately so that, number one, we can test, and number two, we can start treatment.
Yeah. And I think too, for me, it's been overwhelming. It's been uncertain. And so that's why I'm just here to try to debrief and debunk and like, what are the
Right.
facts? Like, what do we
Yeah.
need to know? So as everybody is, packing up, gearing up, we're headed to Las Vegas World Series. You guys will be there as well,
Yep.
which, is starting during the National Finals Rodeo, and then to follow with Kimes Ranch. What can we expect? And I know we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but
No, it's okay.
what do we do?
Well, here's the other thing. So anybody that's out of what I want to call the hot zone, right? The Waco zone, the BFA zone, anybody that has not been to any of those locations, we're recommending vaccination. So typically your spring shots are given in April and May. We are definitely into the 6th, 7th month time period. So your flu rhino shot needs a booster. And this is very typical for this time of year anyways, regardless of the outbreak. It's just good medicine, especially on horses that are traveling and competing and going to be around a lot of other horses. So the vaccine that we are recommending is the flu rhino. Specifically, we like the Calvenza that's made by Boehringer Ingelheim. You can do an IM shot or intranasal, and the intranasal will give you actually the best protection. I can get into the weeds a little bit about what type of immunity, but that's going to give you the best and strongest immunity, the intranasal will. I will tell you from a layperson, I really don't suggest you or Raymond go poking tubes up horses' noses and trying to vaccinate. Leave that one to the professionals, because I want to make sure that the vaccine got in the nose and didn't squirt up the face or on the ground or all the places. So we have options for that. So again, if our recommendation is, if you haven't vaccinated within the previous 90 days for flu rhino, and you're not in what we consider one of the hot zones, your best mode of protection is to vaccinate.
Right.
This is being recommended by all veterinarians. So if you know you're coming down to us, please go vaccinate your horse. Help us out. I vaccinated mine in October at Halloween, knowing I'm coming down, was coming to the event, was going to be exposed anyways. we just vaccinated our whole herd here at the house as well, because we have horses that come here for exams and treatments. And so it's good medicine. It's just one of those things every year. If you know you're going to be out and about, go vaccinate your horse about Halloween or Thanksgiving and help your veterinarian and your horse out. If you are in the hot zone, okay, if you were at Waco or if you were at BFA and you run the risk of exposure, which if you were there and you were warming up, you were probably exposed. All right. We are not recommending vaccine. Okay. Especially the IM, because what we know is that if you have a horse that's incubating the disease or looking like it's going to start showing signs and we vaccinate, we can tip them over. Okay. So it's a double-edged sword. So you really have to understand where you've been and your exposure level right now. So like you, Jordan Joe, I would say, please do not vaccinate Leonard or Cookie.
Right.
All right. You've had exposure. They're building natural immunity. All right. So I'm going to roll the dice on you and we're going to keep an eye on you, but we're not going to vaccinate you right now.
Right.
Okay. Because we don't want the other thing to happen.
Right. And I think that's good to know, because it is like, that is one of my thoughts was, do I vaccinate like right now and take that precaution, or, what do I do where nobody's running a fever? We haven't seen any signs, but we know we were exposed and there has been affirmed positive cases. And so that is something that is on high alert.
Yeah. So you guys that are in the hot zones, you guys that were at Waco or the BFA, don't jump for the vaccine right now. Okay. Let natural immunity and natural exposure be your friend, and let's keep an eye on your kiddos. There are other things for you guys that were exposed that I've been recommending to my clients that you can do. So you feel like you're doing something to protect your horse or help your horse, right? Without being able to do other things. One of the things I'm working with Dr. Rachel Leitman out here in Arizona. She's a boarded internal medicine doctor, and she's also been reaching out to Ben Buchanan at Brazos in Texas. They're working together on this, knowing that we're going to see Texas horses come to Arizona. What do we do for them? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we really think is important for you guys is vitamin C, natural vitamin E as an anti-inflammatory. And then also we can put you on some low dose aspirin, not enough that we're going to mask a fever, but just enough to help with vascular inflammation, which seems to be one of the root causes for some of the neurological signs that we're seeing. So, I would reach out to your veterinarian. There are some protocols that are available for some of you that have been exposed that maybe you can use as a preventative.
What other preventatives other than, which I know it's like you're saying, consult your veterinarian, but off the wall, on the top, over the shelf, what are some other preventatives other than the vitamin C, the vitamin E, vaccination? If your horse hasn't been exposed, is there anything else you can do for your horse?
Stay home. I can't say it enough right now. Stay home. Just keep an eye on things. Low stress, right? Again, it's a herpes virus. So, anything can tip that thing over. So if we're staying home and we're pampering our babies and letting them have a spa day, so to speak, before the big event, I think that's one of the kindest things you can do for your animal right now. Don't expose to anybody else, and just, keep an eye on things. And honestly, Jordan Joe, try not to panic.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Okay, so we've went through this whole thing. I know your phone's blown up. That's why we did this today, was like any and all questions. We asked
me looking down like, who is that?
I know, that's why I'm like, what do we need to know? Like, what are some more questions? I'm asking them as we're doing this. Is there anything else that we've missed that you've discussed with people today that you like, hey, I want to get this out?
I think the biggest thing for people right now to know is don't believe everything you read on Facebook. Okay. There's some truths, but again, it's hard when everybody gets in a panic state to really just calm down and stop finger pointing and try to take control of the situation. Um, that's been my biggest thing with my producers of my events. Of what I want to say is that we all love the winners in the South. We all love rodeoing. We love roping. We love jackpotting. We love barrel racing. We ain't going to get to do that if we don't help ourselves. We are our own worst enemies right now. I think when we are out at these events, again, Jordan Joe, you're going to see me, you're going to see Ellis. We're here. We're here to help you. We're here to answer questions. We would rather you come to us than go to Facebook or go to the internet. And be smart. Make smart decisions. Your horses have been living with this for longer than we know about. We're just taking a deeper, closer look at it. This too shall pass. It does. We see this on the racetrack way more frequently than we do in the outside world. The difference is our containment level is a lot easier. We can shut the gate. We're having a problem in the Western industry right now, shutting the gate. So I think the biggest thing is that it's unfortunate. We are going to have some deaths. We're going to have some sick horses. People are going to have some losses, and Mother Nature can be a nasty witch, but we're in this together, and we're going to come out on the other side, and it's going to be great and wonderful. And that's the biggest message that I have right now is let's all give each other a break and a moment and think of the greater good in the next 30, 60 days. And we're going to be back on track, and everybody will say, remember that one time in December and November? And I'm going to say, yeah, let's not do that again.
Well, Mandi Holland, thank you so much. I know that you're always an open book for anybody and everybody who wants to get in touch with you. What is the easiest way for people to reach out to you and or your husband, Ellis?
Yeah, so Ellis is in Facebook jail, so good luck with that. That's another story. Performance Equine Specialists is on Facebook. We have a website, performanceequinedvm.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Please feel free to DM me. My cell phone is out in the world. 602-531-7587. It's not a secret. I answer 24/7. I signed up for this job knowing I would answer my phone. And I will, and I'll talk you off the ledge, and we're going to get through this. I think the only other thing, Jordan Joe, too, that if you do have a horse that you suspect and you call your veterinarian, the biggest thing that will help all of us in the industry is have your veterinarian swab the nasal tissue, because virus isolation and identifying this virus genetically, these are the things that help the companies that develop vaccines make sure that we're getting the best strains available. One of the things that we've been doing for a number of years under the sheets, so to speak, is if you've had a horse at the World Series team rope and finale that has popped a fever with us, we have swabbed it and we have pulled blood and we have sent it off to a vaccine developer, and they virus isolate it, whether it's influenza or equine herpes virus, and they are developing the most current strain based off of our surveillance project at the World Series, because we have such a large population of horses that convene in one location from all over the United States and Canada. So we really, really get a great look at what's currently happening in the equine industry. So don't keep it a secret. Call us, request having a nasal swab done on your horse so that, yes, we can identify this strain and we can make sure we are developing the best vaccine for the future use.
Well, this has been very informative. Thank you. And I know we'll have more questions. Thank you for taking the time to come on here and just debrief us all. And I can't wait to see you December 15th after this is all settled down and I've been at home.
Before that,
eating turkey.
You're gonna have turkey with Raymond. God
I'm gonna
bless
have turkey.
Raymond. I told you I gave you some
Wait.
tips.
I'm gonna also order an extra meal just in case it doesn't taste good.
Jordan Joe has phenomenal cooking skills, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm very proud of her for going into this new realm of her lifestyle.
I can
But
honestly say it's improving, and
I
that is a
feel
fact.
like I know I'm going to see you at the NFR.
I will be
I know you're probably going to be broadcasting all of our lovely ladies of the world at the NFR. We look forward to you sharing your knowledge with us. If anything pops up, Jordan Joe, I plan on being in Vegas, just FYI, everybody. I will be traveling there on December 1st. I am attending PRCA meetings. I will be working with and alongside Dr. Leslie Schur, who is the official PRCA veterinarian in Las Vegas. We've worked together for a number of years. I have a couple of horses that I'm attending to at the NFR breakaway roping. And then I'm also going to be competing at the Masters and the Rope for the Crown. So not only am I your trusty veterinarian, but I'm also your competitive cowgirl behind the box with you guys. So don't ever fear reaching out or chit-chatting with me. I might tell you, hey, can I rope this calf first? And then we'll talk about it. But I always have an ear, and I'm always looking out for everybody's well-being and their horse's well-being, so that we all can continue doing what we love to do.
Well,
So
we appreciate you.
reach out. You'll see me. When you see me, just be like, hey, shout out, either ask me a question or give me a high five for having a part and still making all of this happen, because boy, today's been a day.
Well, today has been a day. We're glad that it's almost wrapped up. New beginnings, new doors opening. And thank you for giving us some certainty and clarification during this time of trials. So
this too shall pass.
Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks, Jordan.